how do I set up my project in my DAW before I actually dive in. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is gonna be pretty beginner based, but maybe a slight step up because I don't feel like a lot of beginners set themselves up this way when they start a new project. And ever since I started doing this, it made my workflow so much easier and faster. And it actually takes quite a bit of workload off of my computer itself. And this should work with any common DAW. And before we hop over to the computer, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to continue to support the channel, go to the descriptions below, click on those, check them out. There's links to my music, my website, and things like that, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, without further ado, let's head over to the computer and let me show you what I do in every project. All right, as you can see here, I have a brand new project open and there's nothing there. And so I'm gonna show you how I set it up. And for this example, I'm going to be setting up a demo for a rock song. So the first thing I like to do is I like to go in and I'm going to put in a easy drummer track, just kind of something that I can write with. So I'm gonna add that in here. I like to set up my drums and have them at the top of the project. So I have that there. Now I'm going to want to add some guitars. Let's add mono. Let's do 4 count because I like to have maybe 2 different guitar lines, left, right, doubling. So we'll just go with that. Let's add a bass, mono again, bass guitar. There we go. And then maybe we'll toss in some vocals as well. Let's do a 3 on that. Okay, so now we have our drums, guitar, bass, and vocal set up in the project. Now I'm gonna break them down a little bit, but before I do that, I'm going to add some global effects to them, things I'm gonna wanna use. And if you see my other videos, you've noticed that I've talked about creating that space in your head. So think of the room that you're wanting this band to record in and things like that. So what I like to do is I come down here, and this also helps a lot because you don't have to put the effect on every single line, every single track. You just have to put it in here as an effects, and then you can send and return from that effect. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna add an effects channel track. I'm going to do a stereo reverb. So I'm gonna pick my Valhalla Room reverb, title this reverb. I'll call it reverb 1, maybe I'll add more later, but I'm just gonna start with 1. Add that. I'm just gonna leave it as default right now, so now I have that. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little delay in here as well. So same thing, add effects channel track. Go here, I'm just gonna grab a stereo delay, call it delay 1, add track. So now, let's just put this here, something like that, just to kind of have a starting point. So, like I said, instead of going on all the vocals, all the guitar, things like that, and adding a reverb delay, now I'm just gonna send those tracks to those effects. And of course, when I'm sending them to those effects, I have 2 effects going instead of 8, 9, or 10. So let me show you an example. Now, of course, there are no tracks here, but let's say I've laid some guitar lines down, I laid some bass down, things like that. I can go in here, and instead of using insert, I'm gonna go send. I'm gonna send it to, let's say, reverb number 1, turn it on. Now that track is being sent to reverb number 1. Now, I usually will not start routing stuff until I actually have some lines down, but I love starting the project with a reverb and delay built into the effects channel, ready to go. So another thing I like to do is I like to then put these in kind of their folders. And what I mean by that is this. I will create a folder track, I'll come up here and I'll call this guitar. And then what I'll do is I'll grab all the guitar tracks and drop them into this folder like so. Then if I want to get those out of the way or bring them out, I can kind of hide them and tuck them away like that. That way I don't have a million tracks on this one screen. So I'll do that for all of them. Bass, usually when I'm tracking bass, I'll also add some other, maybe like a sub bass to it. So I'll go ahead and just make a bass folder here, do that. Maybe what I'll do, I'll just for purposes, I'll call it sub bass, and that will live in there as well. Of course, you guessed it, I'm going to add a track for vocals as well. Drop those in here. So now I have all of my main instruments. And of course, another thing I'll do with drums is I will export them into WAV files and re-import them and mix them then. So let me go and just drop Easy Drummer in there. So, okay, now I've got my drums, guitar, bass, and vocals all living in their own folders. So as I go through, if I'm just wanting to edit guitar, I can come in here, work on it there, do what I need to do, only see the guitar lines, etc. for bass and vocals. Now there's another thing I like to do when working in projects and mixing, and sometimes I'll wait to do this later on down the road, but I'll show you what it is right now. The other thing I like to do is come in here and have, let's say my guitar, for example, I'm going to put a add group channel track. So now what that is, it is going to basically send all of my guitar tracks or whatever tracks I select to a fader that I can then adjust that fader. I can add effects to that fader, I can EQ that fader, things like that. So I'm gonna call this guitar, add it there. These, I like to put them at the very top of the project. So now, when I have these guitar tracks, I can then send them, not to stereo out, but I can send them to guitar, like so. So now all of my guitar tracks will be being sent to this one guitar fader. Then I can go in here and I can add my own effects as I'd like to, my own EQ, and it will affect all of the guitar tracks globally. So anyway, I'll get into that in more detail in a different video, but I just want to show you another thing that you can do if maybe you're familiar with that, the way you set it up. But for the time being, the main thing I want to show you in this video is just the way I like to put my instruments into folders, and then also have an effects channel strip down here where I can have my reverb, I can have my delay, any other effects that I want to maybe have on multiple instruments. I can then put them down there, and instead of putting a reverb or a delay on every single guitar, every single drum, bass, vocals, whatever it is, I can just send them to the actual effects channel, and that's great. You know, and maybe you want a different reverb on your guitar than you do your vocals. All you do is come back down here, add another effects channel, and maybe call it vocal reverb. And then you basically put out your reverb, whatever you want it to be there, pick it, add it, boom, and now you have your vocal reverb that you can be sending your vocal tracks to, just like this. Vocal reverb, turn on, and then your vocals are being sent to this vocal reverb. It makes your computer so much happier when you run your effects like this. So again, just a very basic setup, how I like to always build my tracks before I start. And again, like I said, I usually don't actually start routing to my effects channels until I have some sort of takes down, some sort of tracking going on. But I always like to kind of put them in there before I start. I like to build a room in my head, because then I might play the guitar a little bit different. I might play the bass a little different. I might actually perform differently if I'm imagining the songs being recorded in a small wood room versus a big cathedral. I might play differently, or I might write the song differently. So I like to kind of build out the room in my head, put the effects in here, put all the instruments into their folders, and then start building it out from there. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Again, like I said, I'm gonna go into more detail the way I like to set up my projects. You know, when it comes to talking about this channel here, where I send all my guitars to that channel, and how you can affect that channel that will then apply to all of the guitar tracks. But again, I'll do that in a later video. This is it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, see you later.